Will you give this to your parents?
He was very happy.
Cars blocking all lanes on the George Washington Parkway.
So I took a break from VCU 2014 and just took a couple classes at Nova to keep up. But I was really interested in film. So I went to the Alexandria campus. It was one of the few places that offered film classes.
At the Alexandria campus, I took the film courses, The Art of Film, Screenwriting, Video 1, Film and Literature, Film Appreciation 1 and 2. In Film Appreciation 1, we studied the different styles, types, eras, genres.
Film appreciation helped me better understand cinema in the sense that I saw that it builds on itself. I learned about the history of film a little bit. We learned about Italian neorealism, which was dope, French New Wave cinema. We learned about African-American cinema, even watched older films such as Birth of a Nation, which definitely has room for perspective.
I took the screenwriting class with Professor Lucy, where we learned how to write character biographies, character arcs. We learned about the different stages of script development, from the synopsis to the treatment to the final draft, and also emphasizing how many drafts the scriptwriter goes through before they reach the final product. In the class, we also discussed characterization, building the setting, the importance of visual storytelling, and also going as far as learning different formats and the difference between narrative and documentary scripts.
I think Alexandria campus is the best place to study cinema for the fact that it's so versatile. It's got a diverse load of classes that you can take to learn whichever medium you want to study, such as screenwriting, directing, and then after that, you build a network of friends. You build a network of people that you trust, that you can fall behind and depend upon. So then you start actually going out after class and start making your own films. And then from there, it progresses and progresses.
The beauty about being in my position, being the professor, is seeing the evolution in terms of students' film knowledge in the course of their tenure with us. They come to us with simply just a passion, but without any know-how. I think the fundamental thing that I teach my students is, one, to write visually, and two, to learn about the filmmaking process, and to also appreciate the fact that this is a communal art form, not an individual.
And it was all stuff I learned here at the Alexandria campus, which was awesome.
See ya.
So when I first joined, in the absence of a film degree, I developed a film collaborative called the Film Collaborative International. The objective was for film students to apply it, practical application of what they learn in the classroom, basically.
I actually joined the FCI at Nova Alexandria campus, the Film Collaborative International, where I met Professor Lucy and a group of other students that helped me begin my filmmaking at Nova.
My specific roles varied from production to production. I would either be a scriptwriter, a producer, or a composer, an editor, a director, lighting gaffer. I mean, I've done it all, like all over the spectrum, and that's what really brought me into film, as it's not choosing your role, but finding what your role is.
My first student production at the Alexandria campus was a short film called Final Exam. We worked together. We all want to come to the same goal, which is making a great film that we can share to the public.
During FCI's production of Final Exam, I was the sound operator. That was a department I wasn't completely familiar with. Working on that film, I learned a lot about the ambient noise that you should be aware of, the AC controls, any minutia that comes with sound operating that really affects the film.
What stood out to me on final exam was our collaboration with the Ethiopian film students on the east side of Africa. We were trying to tell a story that compared two characters who were very similar in character arcs, had similar struggles, but it was very different in settings for the purpose of bridging our cultures. We had to communicate in every stage of the film's process so that we could flush out this parallel story that we were going for. And just for an example, I was the American editor for the film. I had to communicate with the Ethiopian editor so that we could synchronize our sequence settings in Premiere Pro, so that when they sent their film overseas to us in a hard drive, we could put it all into one project and render it in the final cut, no problem.
That collaboration really inspired me on many levels. It gave my students the opportunity to actually interact with students that maybe they wouldn't have interacted with from a different part of the world. And that part really inspired me to create a series called Films Without Walls. Films Without Walls is a series that started with the film collaboration with the Ethiopian students. Next year, we're going to collaborate with students from Scotland, but we're also going to involve students from different parts of the world.
The FCI group at Nova Alexandria is a very diverse group of people from all walks of life, from all races and religions, but what brings us together is our love for cinema, and that's pretty powerful.
So once they made the films, then where do they exhibit? So the logical step was to create the Nova Student Film Festival. And although it was created as a forum for FCI students to exhibit their work, it had a wider appeal across Nova campuses, and it was open to all Nova students, whether they are film students or radiology students or psychology students.
In 2014, we launched our own student film festival, which has grown from presentation of 5 films to now having to be selective about how many films we can actually show in an evening. And we filled up our theater with members of the community and film critics and students who have made these devices and people who've come through our doors before and gone on to have jobs in the industry. They all come back to see this film festival. It's been a great event each year.
The Nova Student Film Festival, when I first participated in it, was small on the student front, where we called in other film festivals to share their work, and they made up the bulk of the festival. But as the years went on, the festival became more inclusive of students with differing styles. We had more animations. We had music videos. We have just a lot more student work and a lot less professional end work.
It was my first ever film festival, as Final Exam was my first short film. So being able to show it at the festival was a great experience. The first time a director gets to experience their film being watched by somebody else is at a festival. So it was a great experience. I was able to bring my family and get a response from the audience.
The atmosphere, all in all, was pretty great. There were so many different types of films from students from every campus. And it was great, especially my favorite part was actually at the end when they were interviewed by Professor Lucy, and everyone was talking about their inspirations and why they decided to join film and what they got out of it and how they were planning to continue with it in the future.
Before a filmmaker shows their films to the public, they've probably already seen it 100 times. But what's magical about a film festival is that it's as though they're seeing it for the first time with the audience and the audience's genuine, raw reaction to their film. Part of that genuine reaction comes out at the end of each festival in the form of a Q&A session with the audience. each student filmmaker gets to stand at the front of the room and interact with the audience. And I was up there a couple times with my classmates. We answered questions, we talked about our films, but what made that moment really special was hearing the audience's reaction to our film, their intrigue, what they thought. We lived for that reaction, and it's what made the entire filmmaking process worth it in the end.
This coming year, or in 2017, 2018, we will be holding an international student film festival where we'll invite students to submit films upon the theme that we've previously selected. And these students are going to come from Ethiopia, from Scotland, from China, from Cuba, and from Alexandria. We'll give an award for the film that pleases the dean the most. I'm the dean, I get to choose.